So, can sales conversations really be easy? Here's the thing. There's a lot of things in this world that are not easy. For example, I have an amazing relationship with my husband, but it is something that we work on consistently. We work on intentionally. We make rules for each other. And those rules are constantly changing and evolving as we get clearer and clearer on what we want to create in our relationship. For example, just this week alone, we decided that after 9:30, we weren't allowed to work, and we actually had to connect and communicate before we went to bed because we'd gotten into a bad habit of checking email late at night. So that's not easy. But here's what I do want to tell you is that sales, the learning how to sell to somebody, can be easier than you think it is. Here's why. Many of you are really good at coaching. You're really good at talking to people about what their problems are, listening intently to what they need, offering really good guidance and wisdom, and then even at times kicking your clients in the pants gently and lovingly when they need to be moved forward. But yet when you get to the sales conversation piece, you struggle. And you struggle because you go into a different headspace. Instead of using your intuition, listening, reflective, you go into a place of desperation, you go into a place of fear, you go into a place where you feel like you need to do everything right in order to get the client to come on board. I remember when my client Cheryl did this. Cheryl Binney, many of you might know her. She's a great copywriting and messaging expert. And we were working together multiple years ago, and I was teaching her how to sell. And one of the things she kept saying is, I just don't feel like I'm saying the right thing. I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like I'm overcoaching. I feel like I'm giving away too much. And I paused and I said, okay, Shah, I want you to imagine that this client is your client. Right? And she's already said yes. What would you say to her then if you were talking to her as a friend and a current client? And she was like, oh, I would really like tell her that she has to join because her writing isn't that great. And she really needs to like learn how to do this so that she can hit her goals. And if she doesn't do it, she's going to fall apart eventually just because the writing won't support her sales goals. And I was like, oh, so that sounds pretty convincing. So she told the truth in her next conversation, just like that, maybe a little bit nicer. And she started getting sales. Now, the same thing happened to me when I first started. I was talking to one of my clients and she wanted to buy a VIP day with me. And this was early on in my middle to end of my second year in business. And I was so excited to have her. She was a family friend and I had grown up with her. And so we talked, and she was in the nutrition business, and I could tell that she was really unhappy in it. She wanted to flip out and try something new, and she wanted to get into the relationship business, like relationship coaching. And so we went through the, traditional sales process. And then she was like, I don't know, I'm going to check with my husband and I'll get back to you. And I heard that and was like, okay, but because she was a friend, I just kept talking, right? I just gave her advice as I would a friend. I said, look, you have got to know that if you don't do this, if you don't do something, you're going to get more and more tired of your business. Eventually it's going to drain you. And eventually down the road, when you've used up even more money and more time, then you're going to realize you need to shift, and it's going to feel really hard and hugely risky. Whereas if you shift now, when you've got the space and the time and the energy to shift, it's going to feel a lot less hard, and you're going to actually be able to do something you love, and you really do need this. Like, this is not a question. So whether you do it with me or someone else, you've got to get some coaching. And she paused and she said, Monica, you just did a great job of selling me. I'm in. I don't really need to even talk to my husband. And I was like, oh. And I realized that the key is that we're taking everything too personally, right? And we're treating everybody as though they're like some official person who's judging us. But what if we treated them like a friend that we really cared about? Somebody that we would be willing to tell the truth to, someone that we'd be willing to pull them through the mud towards us. That's the key to learning how to sell in a way that flows, in a way that is not manipulative, in a way that turns into a dialogue where the person on the other side feels like you care about them. Now, if you want to learn more about this sales process, if you're somebody that feels like this has been difficult for you, please reach out. Let's have a conversation. You can leave me a comment below and we can set up a time to chat, or you can instant message us or email me at support@revenuebreakthrough.com. Know that I believe that the sales process should be intuitive, it should be interesting, and it should be like a really lovely dialogue between you and the other person. And I think that's completely possible. I've taught hundreds of clients to do it, and I'd love to share more with you.